Hey friends, Pamela here with Passionate About Scrapbooking, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the Texas Hill Country in Fredericksburg, Texas. One moment, please. All right, let's try this again. I forgot to start my Instagram feed, and for some reason, I'm hearing myself. Give me 1 second. Okay, I think I figured it out. Mhm. All right. Again, welcome to Restoring Joy Through Scrapbooking. I'm Pamela with Passionate About Scrapbooking, your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the Texas Hill Country in Fredericksburg, Texas. So I'm so glad you're here. If you're joining me, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure you can hear me okay. And let me know maybe where you're viewing from. How's your day been? Are you crafting right now? Would love to know. Thanks for the thumbs up. Say hello. And I'm just going to double check. I think everything's going smooth now. We've got Instagram Live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, I think. All right. So today is Thursday, September 25th, and this is the day I've chosen to do my weekly live at 6 p.m. Central Time for my new series called Restoring Joy Through Scrapbooking. So we'll be doing a 2-page 12 by 12 scrapbook page or layout today, since it's 2 pages. I prefer to call them layouts. So I'll be using the Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop Kit, and we're going to do some fun things, some extra goodies to it that if you just did the scrapbooking workshop per the instructions, so I'll be doing some extra things. And I listed some of those things in the description. So we will do things like use a 3x3 flip flap to expand the journaling space, or you could add extra photos too. I am using it for journaling. And then we're going to ink distress the edges of the designer series paper to add some extra depth and texture. Then I'll also be sanding on the two-tone cardstock for texture. And so we will be using a 3D embossing folder that's in the suite of the full products. I'll talk to you a little bit about that when I have you on my desk. Then there will be, I just got the white craft ink refill in a few days ago, so I'm going to do some splattering with that. So I'm excited about that. I actually haven't even tried it yet, but I think it's going to work just fine, look really great. So say hello if you're joining me. Hey, Debbie, how are you? All the way over in Florida, right? How's y'all's weather? It's beautiful here in the Texas Hill Country right now. We have like 80-degree weather. A cold front came through yesterday, brought a little rain north of town. We didn't get here any at our house, unfortunately, but um, anyhow. So I am going to switch my camera over to my desk. If you have any questions whatsoever throughout the event, just drop them in the comment section and I'll try to answer those if I see them. And I will be sharing dimensions for the project tonight. Let me know if you saw my video from yesterday for story and sketch and how I shared the dimensions. I won't be able to put them on screen today, but I will specifically tell you what each piece and size is for the page. So if you have products on hand, whether they're the Peaceful Garden or the Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop Kit, you can use whatever products that you have on hand and follow along with me if you like. Hello, Wanda from California. We've got California and Florida. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to flip my camera over. So maybe if I remember, I'll show you my face at the end and visit for a minute if I remember. Sometimes I don't. But I also have to remember that Jeff is on his way home. And so I don't want to go too long. So it'll take about an hour 15 minutes probably for the live today. All right, here we go. So here's my page or my desk, and I've got all the products plus a few others that I don't intend on using. I just wanted to share them with you. I did want to grab my catalog, and it's actually in the mini catalog. I was thinking the annual catalog. So the Peaceful Garden is what the suite of products is called. So you've got the stamps, the dies, some glimmer paper, a 3D embossing folder, some embellishments, ribbon, and your designer series paper. I love the colors of this suite. They're just rich and fun. They would be great for winter themes, but can really be used any time of the year. And then I'm actually using today primarily the Peaceful Day Scrapbooking Workshop kit. Hello, Debbie from Fredericksburg, Texas. And I used this collection or this kit yesterday for my story and sketch. So I do think I've made a decision that for now, I'm not going to make it Monday. I'm going to do story and sketch on Wednesday instead of doing it on Mondays because I'm having a hard time getting things prepped and ready for Monday evening or to have that go live, the recording on Monday evening. And to do that, I have to spend a lot of time during the weekend, and I prefer not to do that right now, trying to free up my weekends a little bit. So we will transition over to story and sketch every week. So I'll post a recorded video on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Central Time. And then Thursday, I'll go live with the two-page 12 by 12 layout. So Wednesdays will be a single page. This is what I created and recorded yesterday and posted last night at 6 p.m. And it's got a 4 by 4 flip flap on it. So I got my journaling underneath there. And this one, as you can see, it was similar to this one right here, but I made some changes, cut my paper a little bit different, repositioned the title up at the top. And I did that because this was only a single page. And I decided not to do the full 2-page. But tonight we're going to be doing something similar to this one over here, just with some added benefits. But if you buy the Scrapbooking Workshop Kit, you can easily create all 3 scrapbook layouts, so a total of 6 pages, using just what comes in the kit. So you'll have everything you need. You'll just need, I think, some adhesive. They've got additional products down here. Of course, you'll need a paper trimmer and glue. They recommend several types. That's totally up to you. And then they also, as an added bonus, you can get the Peaceful Greenery embossing, 3D embossing folder. And you can do a technique on a few of these pages using that as well. And you would need to do, if you would need like a die cutting embossing machine to use that. So just FYI, there's a little picture of it right down here in the corner as well. So there's a link in the description That'll take you directly to the scrapbooking workshop kit if you're ready to purchase that. And then you can follow along with my videos and recreate the pages that I created. All right, give me 1 second. I think maybe you can still hear me, but my ear was like really itching for some reason. So just curious, anyone that's gone through perimenopause, did you have itchy ears? Because mine have been driving me crazy, like the last year, I think. All right. I have one Mr. Jasper that wants to go outside. And then Mr. Pumpkin is actually hanging out over here by the window, just chilling on a towel. Hey, Jana, how are you doing? Corpus Christi, right? My stepdaughter, son-in-law, and our grandbaby they're in Corpus Christi right now. They had moved there first part of the summer and they're already packing up to head out to California. That's where my son-in-law's family lives. Oh yeah, those itchy ears, I can't stand them. They're driving me nuts. So let's see. Okay, so let's get busy. Again, I don't want to take a lot of your time. And also because it's in the evening, Jeff will be on his way home here in a little bit. So we've got this exclusive, I say it's exclusive, it's the stamp set that coordinates with the Peaceful Days Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. So the images in here are a little bit larger, so it works great with scrapbooking. I use them a little bit on here, like I use the tab right here. I love that tab right there. I thought that was fun. And then this leaf stamp, I stamped it right in here. I don't think I'll be using any of it today. We'll see. I'm not sure. I haven't decided on that part. I'm not going to do very much stamping on here at all. It's going to be more technique. And then let me see if I can find it. I had a card, but I think I already just misplaced it. Oh, it's hiding underneath over here. So give me 1 second. I always make sure I put all my projects into plastic sleeves so that if the cats jump up on here, they don't get them dirty. So I'm just always trying to, yeah, make sure everything's protected. It would especially not be fun if I had created like an artisan assignment or something and they messed it up if I left it up here. Thank you so much. Hello, Jane. Hope you're good. All right, and then this one right here, I'm thinking I might use this somewhere, the peace, love, and joy, and you'll understand why once we get into the photos and what the theme of the pages are. And I'm kind of looking, yeah, we'll see. We'll play with that maybe. So I'm going to keep it kind of handy. So that's the Peaceful Garden um, in the suite of products, but it's Peace on Earth. Oh, and check out these dies. I really love these label dies right here. And even I think I've used a little bit of all of this in the course of playing with this collection of products. It does come with some beautiful ribbon with some silver edge on it. I don't know what you call it. It's just uh, I don't know if it's loops or not. It's hard to tell, but that is misty blue. Don't think I'll be using that today. Then we have the embellishments. These are the hues of blue flowers. We'll throw some of those on there right at the end. And here's the card I was going to share with you. This is my Mail It Monday card. So this was kind of the inspiration for my project, my scrapbook page yesterday. I used some of the same techniques on there. This is, I don't know if these are all the colors, but these are a lot of the colors that are included in the the suite. So I just really love that. the neutrals and kind of the monochromatic. Not even sure if that's exactly what you call it, but I should know by now after doing all the, it's actually like analogous, I think. It would be considered because it'd be like these blues over here, all over here. Technically, I think that would be what it would be called. All right, so I have my white craft ink. This is brand new. I'm gonna plan on doing a little bit of splattering with that with a water brush. I've got my journaling pen. I've already done my journaling, handwritten and printed. And then there's that workshop guide. You get this in your scrapbooking kit. So it's color and printed real nice on some nice paper. Gives you cutting dimensions for all of the pages if you follow them as they're intended to be made. But I've made some adjustments already. Now, I did pretty much follow this one, layout number 3, and I'm just adding lots of technique to it this time, I think. And let me move that over, see what else we need. I might sneak in a little bit of this new black and white gold baker's twine instead of the misty blue ribbon, since it didn't really coordinate with anything on my pages. So let's pull all the pieces out and get busy. Y'all are so awesome, welcoming each one and saying hello. Thanks for doing that. And let's see here. I've got a fan that's blowing over here, so all right, so photos, they're all ready. Check. We'll talk about those in a minute. Got my journaling already, or mostly, anyways. There's my flip flap. I've actually even handwritten some of my journaling for it. The best day ever. I'm actually going to expand on this title just a little bit. So I do have a little bit of it over there at the printer that I'll need to jump up and grab in a minute. This page is going to include some of the dies, the punch out dies from the scrapbooking workshop kit, along with some of the stickers. So I've already done my journaling for that side too. So this is this the right page, and then the other journaling is going to be on the left side. So we'll pull like some of these trees and these half circles and these tags, banners to be part of our page as well as we build upon the page. All right, the very first thing that I've already done, you might notice, of course, I've pre-cut everything. Then I've also gone through all my paper, I think, and ink distressed the edges. And if you're new here and you're not familiar with that technique, I just used my Secret C stamping pad, and I just took my paper and dabbed it in here on each side, everywhere, so that it created a little bit, you might see it better on this one, some ink along the edges, and that just helps give a little bit more definition to your paper and your page. It's just a fun technique I enjoy doing sometimes, not all the time. And then, so I've got all that cut. I want to walk through, or I'll just tell you the sizes of everything as we adhere them down. And as you can see, I've already got my embossing done. I've already taken a nail buffer, I guess is what we call those, and gone along the embossed part, not real heavily. I did learn that like there's a couple of areas in here that are embossed a little bit higher than some of the others, so you can kind of take the edge and go in here and remove a little bit of the color because we are using the two-tone cardstock, so there is a white core, and in the instructions, it doesn't tell you to do the sanding. That was just something extra that I decided to do to make these stand out just a little bit more. So let's get situated here and get our our layout bases put down on the Bursa mats. I like to use a removable glue dot to lay those down. These are both 12 by 12 in crumb cake, and I am using the dark side. And if you maybe can tell, I did even ink the edges of the full 12 by 12s, just so everything would be um, coordinated together. Whoops. So I'm just putting the glue dots in the two opposite corners, just enough to um, keep the base pieces in place together. Does anybody have any tips or tricks for anything that I've talked about so far? Let's see, Kit. Kit, not kitchen. Oh, thank you, Debbie. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't feel like I do. Do you have details on your sanding blocks? I just got those off of Amazon, Kendra. So later I might can share in the video description on YouTube the link. Hello, Kim. Thanks for joining me. All right, so two 12 by 12s. These are crumb cake, two-tone cardstock. And we're just going to start building this way, like both sides, and I'll tell you the sizes of the paper. So this is designer series paper from the kit. So I think it's a little bit different. Like this is in the kit. I'm not in the kit, but this pattern is in the designer series paper pack. But I think this is a different pattern on the back. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's right. Um, I could probably look in the catalog, but I won't take the time to do that. All right, so this is a 1.5 inch by 12 inch piece. So it's gonna go, we're gonna have borders on both sides. So just go over here. So you need two of those 1.5 inch by 12 inch pieces. And then we have more designer series paper from the workshop kit. We're going to put adhesive on this side, and these are 1/2 inch by 12 inch pieces. So you'll need two of those. And then I'm having issues with my contacts, and it really stinks because I just bought a year's worth of contacts. So I don't know what's going on. I've cut out sugar out of our diet and have made some health changes. So I'm like, maybe my eyes are getting better. I hope that's the case anyways. I feel like my mat is crooked and maybe it's not really. So give me 1 second. I'll shift it that way a little bit. All right. And so we've got borders on both sides. Then we're going to start building up the center here, or the middle. And this piece right here is, I think this is supposed to be cloud cover, two-tone cardstock. It's in the kit, and it tells you what to cut all these pieces if you get the Peaceful Day Scrapbooking Workshop kit. But this is a 7 inch by 7 3/4 inch piece, and I'm going to use the dark side. So we'll put adhesive on the light side, and we're going to position, I'm going to make sure I'm doing this right the way it shows in the description. I think it was taller than wider. And this is one part where you could, I'm going to put it about, it shows 2 7/8. And let me see if it tells me, I think it's 2 7/8 down too, but I'm going to leave it centered right here. So approximately right there. Now, if you wanted to conserve paper, I would do this sometimes. I would, since this is actually layering over top of it, I would probably just cut this piece and this piece once I knew what it was. And it looks to me like it's probably 3/4 of an inch right there. And then I wouldn't have all this underneath, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. And before I put this down, I'll give you the dimensions. I'm trying to remember to do that. So we've got 7.5 by 6.25 of pecan pie. I caught myself in my video yesterday when I was editing it, calling this desert sand, which was a close to my heart color. So thought that was kind of funny. All right, so just layer that on top of there. And from here, before I'm not going to put pictures on any of this yet because I want to do some of that ink splattering. But let me grab, because I think I'm going to have to tuck this up under. So there is that piece. It had you cut. Here, we'll just do this. And I can tell you exactly what size it was. It was 4 inches by 5.25. And then you run your embossing machine, you run it through the embossing machine, and then I sanded it, and then I cut it in a diagonal, and then I inked the edges. And it is actually going to tuck up underneath here, so we'll pop that up a little bit and get it positioned right under here. So we'll add some adhesive to all of that area and push it in. I think I'm gonna let it, let's see here, where's kind of where the label part is. I think I'm gonna lightly lay it down because I may push it in just a little bit more. I kind of liked that right there though. So let's see where we go from here real quick. Then next I want to grab my sticker sheet, I believe. So far everything is ink distressed. I think I decided not to ink distress any of the dies, like the stickers or the die pieces over here, because I wouldn't be able to go around the trees or the dove, and then that would just all kind of help make it more cohesive, whereas all of these embellishments weren't inked, but all the cardstock and designer series paper was. So that was my thought process behind that. Okay, this 1/2 inch piece or this 1/4 inch circle probably really goes about, you want to make sure you're covering this up right here. So it's going to go up a little bit higher. I'm going to hold that down and then layer it. So that goes there. And then we need this tag right here. I'm going to just stick them over here along with this banner piece. Now, if you're following the instructions from the kit, it actually told me to cut a piece of the designer series paper in there for this, but I looked really closely and I could be wrong, but I think it's the sticker and not the designer series paper. And then I should have another little piece here that's edge distress, but I'm just going to leave these alone and not edge distress them. So this piece needs to cover up this area right in here, I think. And I'm going to put it right to the edge right here. And there's just a little bit showing right there, but I think it's going to be fine. And maybe not. Yeah, I think if I move it over that way, it's going to cover it up. So overlap that just a little bit. I didn't get all the way down. 1 second. To the pumpkin pie. So let me see if I got that. There we go. And then this piece, we'll layer that on here, about right there. Okay. And what else do I want to put down? I don't think I'll put anything else down yet on this side until we can do a little bit of ink splattering in a minute. So let's move over to the right-hand side of the layout. And we're going to take this piece, which was 4¼ by 10¾ and I need my scissors because we need to do some dovetail. Since we have a dovetail over here too, then we're going to do this as a dovetail. So if this is 4¼ the easiest way to find the center for me is to move over to the 6 inches and position it so it's like 4 1/8 and 8 well, it's actually 3 7/8 right here and 1 1/8 right here. And this will give you your center. So I like to can go ahead and get your scissors kind of under there, get it positioned so it's centered. Go to the 6 inch line right there. You can use a pencil if you like, but this is going to be a pretty shallow. Also, well, it wouldn't. I was going to say it goes right through that star right there. But now, if I'm cutting like this, it's kind of long and I might not be very straight with it because it's so long. So I'm going to take my paper trimmer and cut from this corner to the center there. So I have to be able to kind of see where that's at. I know it's hard for y'all to see it, but okay, there we go. Can see I cut a little extra. I think it'll be okay once I get it cut. Won't be quite so noticeable, hopefully. Line it up in here. There we go. So there's one side, but I want to do this side as well. So you could see, where is the center? Yeah, 2 1/8. So can I go 2 1/8 right here? Yep. So you could also just do it like this and then cut up maybe 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit more. Maybe I cut up about 3/4 of an inch. Let me kind of look and see. Yeah, approximately. And then so get this end lined up and then however high you want to go up right there. And I'm just looking to see that I made it to the center line, center cut. Once you do the first one, this one ends up being very simple to do. Let me pull that out of the way. Okay, there's your dovetail. That's what I've called it. Close to my heart taught me that. And you may have another name for it. I've heard chicken lips, I guess. And I'm not sure what other people call it. Do y'all have any different names for your banners? Can call it a banner too, I suppose. All right, so I did ink the edges of this. So now I want to ink those cuts that I just made. Be careful with your ink pad. But on these, I like to pick up my ink pad and my paper so that I can kind of see what I'm doing. Almost have to flip it around to the other hand so I can kind of see. And I'm just laying my designer series paper in there. You don't have to rub or move back and forth on these foam pads because the ink just, it's so squishy that it will lay some ink on your paper very easily, especially if they're nice and juicy. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to do on that one. Maybe let it dry just for a second because you do want to be careful. I think I'll take my sticker sheet and I'll use it. I'll flip it over so that I don't get any wet ink streaks or anything on my page. Now this is going to be centered in between here. So we have 10 inches of the crumb cake. So we should be right about the 5 inches. And then I'm just going to eyeball it between here. And I think it's straight. Then this piece is actually going to go down here. So I'll have to lift that up here in a minute. But let's get our photo mats down real quick. I'm not doing a lot of dimension yet. We'll use our stamping dimensionals for our dies and stickers. All right, and then here, I'm going to go ahead and lay these down, and then I can kind of pop these up and tuck this up underneath. I want this one. So this was a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 inch piece. I didn't measure it for you like that. So this is a 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. And you want about 1/4 of an inch in between here lined up on this side. Yes, Jane is a former fellow close to my heart maker. So she thinks the same way I do with the dovetail. And then this piece is going right here with about 1/4 of an inch going through. This paper right here is reminding me this would work really well with 4th of July too, I think, I feel like. So it could be New Year's, snowflakes, lots of different avenues to go with that. All right, I was looking to see if I had a little spatula, but I don't think I do. So I'm just going to kind of lift this up a little bit, and let's get some adhesive on the back of this. And let me see where I want to position it. It's actually going to go, there we go. Oops. So I think I'm okay with it seeing like this little area. She got about an inch right here on both of these. Again, we're going to cover up that part right there. So that's the next thing is we want this other half circle right here. It matches some of the designer series paper. And this is where we're going to bring it down about right here to cover up that point. Just layer that there. We'll have a die cut on it in a minute. And next, I think now we can do a little bit of ink splattering. And I'll try not to get like super messy, hopefully. I'm going to get a block. And I did try to shake this up well. We'll see how I did. I'm not sure. Like I said, I haven't even opened this yet. So see if I can get any squirted out. Yep, a little bit. So I'm just going to do like a pea size of it. And I didn't check to see if this was clean. I don't even know if I have any water in this one. Give me 1 second and see if I have one. I think this will work. I think that's my old close to my heart one anyways. All right, we'll see if we can squeeze any water. I've been having problems getting the water to come out. This one's not clean. The tip isn't, so let me run it around here for a second. So I don't want it to be colored. I want it to be white. So I think that's going to be good. So I think I'm nice and clean now. Make sure my water is. Hopefully. Still got a little bit of, I won't do too much water then. Okay. So just add a little bit of water on here. Hopefully I didn't get too much. And then I think I'm going to do a little splattering over here. I think I'm gonna make sure it goes up around here too. And you could do it this way. I think I kind of like, you could use like a bone folder to tap it if you wanted to. All right, so I think I like that. And I think I want to do like a little bit down in here. And then we'll put some up here too. I'm looking to see what all is going to be covering up. Better watch out and not get it on my shirt. I'll do a little bit like right over here. I think I'll get away a little bit. And right up in here. This is where we're going to have another journaling block or stamp set. And maybe you can just see a little bit around it. Okay. Now I'm going to have to be careful because I don't know how long this is going to dry, and we're not going to sit here and wait for it to dry, but we'll just set that aside and clean that up later. You don't want to clean any of that with like your chamois because it'll mess it up. You'll want something separate, or just go to the sink and clean it up. And because it's kind of like paint. Can you see right there? Get some alcohol and clean that up in a minute. Kind of checking out my shirt. I think I did okay. All right, so next we'll start building up this page over here. And I'll just be careful if you were doing this on your own at home and you did the splattering with that, maybe walk away, cook some dinner, do something, and come back and finish your page once it's dry. Let me get this. I'll work over here so I'm not messing anything up, hopefully. So we need to bring in photos and journaling. Those will be our next items. So let me tell you about my journaling a little bit real quick. So I did this on the computer. I accidentally cut this one a little too small. I really wanted it to be like square, but I didn't want to have to print everything again. So I modified it. I figured out how I could make it work. So it's going to go in the flip flap like this. So I cut two little pieces of designer series paper first. This square is a 3x3 of the cloud cover. And then so you can do the same technique if you want, or just make it like 2 3/4 or 2 7/8 would probably be actually what it is. But then I cut a 1/4 inch piece by 2 7/8, so I could put some up at the top here. And then I really I'm like really excited about doing this now because it just made the journaling look a little bit better with the extra designer series paper in here. So I'm gonna flip that. Kind of looking at my stars to see how I want them to be positioned. So it'll be in the flip flap. This one will go right here. So I could go ahead and tuck that in like that. So you want it to be upside down if that's how you want your flip flap. Your flip flap can always go like side to side if you want. I'm just going to do it from this way to flip up. And then this piece will end up down here. All right, let me look. I think we can go ahead and adhere this. So let me teach you how, if you haven't seen or aren't super familiar. So this can either be a photo or journaling. So I just chose to expand my journaling a little more into my flip flap. And I'm scrapbooking about Jeff and I's commitment to building our relationship on the Word of God. That was one of our very first conversations that we ever had. If you don't know, we met online through farmersonly.com, and that's a true story. All right, so um, I took some photos of some brand new Bibles that we just recently got. He had them engraved with PB&J, which is our nickname for us, for Pamela Blackwell and Jeff. He came up with that shortly after we started dating. And anyhow, so this one, I'll talk a little bit more about it as we get to the pieces. So this journaling just talks about that a little bit, our new Bibles and our favorite verses. Mine is Hebrews 11:1 and Jeff's is Romans 8:28. So I am going to take this one, flip it over and put only adhesive right there on the top at first. And then this piece with the flap, I'm going to have the flap up at the top. You want it so that it will fold over this way and the adhesive will be back here. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to line it up. Before I do that, I'm going to see if I can get these lined up really well. And bear with me one second. So I like to just kind of get those in there. Once you know what you have in there, put some adhesive on them. That way they'll go into the flip flap together. I want to go this way though, because that's the top of the flip flap. And then put them in there together so that you don't see any of the extra around the back. All right, try this again. So there's the adhesive I put on it. I want it to face up this way. Now I'm going to line it up with whatever I have in the flip flap, hold it in place, and then just push that flap down over so it adheres to that piece right there on the bottom. So now you have a piece that looks like this. Okay, now I can add some additional adhesive to this piece back here. Kind of feel like I'm a little crooked, so let me fix it. All right, so I think that's going to be good. And now you can tear off this strip, and there's some really super sticky adhesive right there on that flap. I prefer to put my flip flaps on the page so that um, then I can cut my page protector and it'll flap back here and you don't see this piece right here much. You'll see a little bit right here, but it'll be underneath everything and it won't be, but you can just take this piece and adhere it right to your, or this piece right here. You could take it and adhere it just to the top of your page protector if you want. All right, let me grab, let me see what, I think I want this photo right down here. So this is Jeff's scripture. I think we want about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. I'm going to stand up so I can get this positioned accordingly. It's actually going to touch right there in the center, I think. So we'll just put it down. So it has the same width all there. And in this piece, we can put down flush to that piece. Okay, so Romans 8:28 is, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good. And I guess always confuses me. It's got a little 5 there, so I don't know what it is. For those who are called according to his purpose. So I just wanted to make sure. I just barely highlighted it in the Bible with a color that was similar to this. But then I did, I don't think I did black and white. I think I just used a filter to make it look a little bit more crisp. So there's that part. And then this photo is next. I'll set that up there for a minute. So I don't think I have any paint down here. Looks like it's pretty dry now, so I should be okay. And then this one is going to, let's see. Yeah, I guess we're gonna put it right over here. You may have to lift that up just a little bit. And so this is on our kitchen counter. There's my little tiered tray that I have some things on it. I even have a little Jesus figurine. Have any of y'all seen those floating around? Hey Flo, how are you? Just saw you jumped on. And so our ministry team had Trish had bought a bunch of those, or no, that wasn't. Margaret was the one that brought one to our conference, oh, a year and a half ago, I guess it was. And then Trish bought a bunch of them to share at the conference this last year. And I had bought some shortly after Margaret had shared. I think she gave each one of us one of these. And then I just bought a big bag of them on Amazon and shared them with family and friends. Jeff's even taken them to work, and people have asked for them. And you can also go and hide them around town when you're out and about too, just so people can have a little bit of Jesus when they find one. So it's a fun little thing to do. Kim, yes, I am printing my photos at home. Yep. So I've gotten kind of in a mode for quite a while now where I do it with the border, the white border. But just kind of depends on the page and the mat and the colors and so forth. All right, so there are those photos. Let's jump over here. The photos on this next side are pretty, there's no more flip flaps, I guess is what I want to say. And so I just took a few different pictures of our new little Bibles. They're compact Bibles. They were only like $10 at the christianbooks.com, I think is what it is. Of course, it did cost a little extra to get the engraving on them, and we just decided to get different colors, styles, and then but we did PB&J on both of them. And this one, so in this picture, I just decided to add in, I have to have readers even for the big print because it's really not that big. And I have a highlighter along with my favorite pen so that when we take it to church or Bible study, that we can highlight and journal, take notes or whatever we need to. Um, Jeff's better than I have a purse, of course. I keep that stuff in, but he has his little laptop bag or something like that that he has his notebook in and so forth. But all right, then I decided, even though I literally took these pictures today and printed them out. And then I actually grabbed a picture of Jeff and I. This is like one of my very favorite photos from January of 2016, I think. So it's actually a photo that I have right here on the um, tiered tray. So I was like, I'll just use that photo, even though it's not current. We haven't been very good lately about taking selfies, and we need to do that. Maybe Saturday we will, because we're going to go see Bevan in San Marcos and have lunch with her, and then Jeff and I are going to go to the movies afterwards. And I'm not even sure what we're seeing. He got free tickets to something. through the Angel Studio. So it'll be a surprise for me, I guess. All right, so I chose to use that one just to represent us and our Bibles. And then here's the photo of my favorite verse. And I'm going to tell you a little story about why it's my favorite verse, because close to my heart had a stamp that had this verse on it, Hebrews 11:1. So this was years and years ago, and I think it was even before I even became a Christian. I accepted Christ, made him my Lord and Savior back in September 26th, so tomorrow, 2003. So it's been almost 27 years ago. Is that right? Am I calculating that right? And anyways, I just always loved that verse. I think I still have the stamp somewhere, but it's now faith that is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Now, this is the ESV version, so it's a little bit different in different versions. And I don't think that's the exact version that the stamp is that I had, but yeah, that's just always been my favorite verse. And it's funny because when I did my very first Gifts of the Spirit test that that's online somewhere, and faith was my number one top spiritual gift. And as the years have gone by, probably about 5 years ago, I did my spiritual gifting, and my faith was lower and prophecy was higher. And prophecy, as in, I I love truth and I don't like people to lie. So it's about sharing the truth and kind of calling people out on their wrongdoings, I guess, in with love type thing, just according to whatever the Bible says. So still working on that gift. You know, just because you have a certain gift or what, you still have to exercise it, I guess, and learn how to use it properly. So, still working on that. All right, so let's wrap this up. I think just all we have to do is add now our um, punch outs along with our title. So, this particular scrapbook layout, the title is Best Day Ever. And I was like, how can I use that for this theme? Well, give me 1 second. I have the rest of my title over here that I didn't grab earlier and cut. So I need to do that real quick. Thank you, Jane. 23 years. Thank you. So today, the 25th, is my Uncle James, would have been his, I think his 65th birthday. Yeah, because he was born in 60 and he was 10 years older than I am. But he passed away back in January of 2015. So I thought about that today, and his widow had posted something about how much she still misses him. It's been, oh, unbelievably, it's been over 10 years now that he's passed away. But today is his birthday. So, and then as I was looking at the calendar, Jeff had put in, which I should scrapbook about this too, because I think it's kind of sweet, in the calendar on our phones on September 26th, he has put in there, Pamela saved, praise God, something like that. And yeah, because I remember specifically the day and the time that happened. So, all right. So I need to add a little ink distressing, whoops, to these pieces too. I have some dates over here. So I'm just gonna see how I'm just barely pouncing, I guess, that on the foam, and it adds a little bit of ink around the edge, so it'll pop off the page a little bit better. And I really love using ChatGPT to help me with my title ideas and even some journaling ideas, because this will do "the best day ever begins here," which would imply your Bible, reading the Word of God. So I loved how that turned out. And this is where I will start adding a few embellishments or dimensionals. We'll get to the embellishments in a minute. Yeah, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try to add some of that gold and white, I guess it's gold, twine. Yeah, the gold and white twine. Maybe we can tuck it up in a few of the clusters and then just add a few of the um, flower embellishments. All right, so this goes somewhere right around here. And then let me decide, do I want it on here? Probably. I'll probably just kind of do it like that. So I'm just going to put some adhesive there, but I'm going to let it hang off just a little bit. Just like that. Press it on there, and then I can do the same thing down here. So I love, again, the ChatGPT kind of has been helping me create some different types of scrapbook pages that I wouldn't normally think to create. But I think this is a really good thing to scrapbook about so that you can leave that story behind for future generations. All right, so next, got my title, "The Best Day Ever Begins Here." Okay, love that. Then let's figure out, there are several different clusters. I think I'm going to I'm just going to kind of follow along now with the sample, but I got to figure out which ones go where. I think this one's going to go down here. Oh, we still have, excuse me, this right here. So it's a big sticker. Here's something that's really cool. So I'm always scared to write on an actual sticker, that's specifically for journaling. So just like this one has lines on it. So, you really can't print easily and lay it on there. I could have done maybe a square of paper over top of that, but I really like the lines that are there. So I want to use my handwriting if possible. And it's really important that you preserve your handwriting in some form or fashion throughout your scrapbooks. You don't have to write on every page, but on occasion do share your handwriting in some way. So here's, you know, how do you figure out how much to write or what to write? This is where ChatGPT can really come in handy. If you tell it about your page, I told the story of what I wanted to do, the idea that I had, the pictures that I was going to be using. And the next thing I did, I was like, okay, so I have a die that has 6 lines on it. I measured the lines, and I think they were like 2.5 inches. I was like, they're about 2.5 inches long, and I need some journaling to write on there. ChatGPT literally told me what to write on each line, and it fit perfectly. So how cool is that? So together in faith and love, building our lives on God's word and trusting his promises every step of the way. So that was not quite as personable, I guess. So that's why I wanted to do a little bit more journaling on the inside. And then I can do that with ChatGPT's help, but also I can fit it how I want in there just on my computer in my Word program. Did the exact same thing with this one, told it how many lines there were, how long they were, and it gave me this different one. It gave me like two options for each one. So I just copied them and then I didn't have to worry about messing up. I just had to be careful. You'll write sometimes and write a wrong word or a wrong letter or something. So you just have to pay attention to that. All right, so that's going to go over here somewhere. I think I'm just going to end up laying this down and not popping this up because it looks like they're actually kind of, the trees are tucked up under this mat right here. So I can go ahead, it looks like, and put this down somewhere right in here so you can still see some of that splattering. Okay, and it's sticky. Whoops, see what you have to be careful moving your finger around there. If that happens, maybe take a little eraser or something and clean it up a little bit. There. So I think I fixed it. So be careful rubbing your hands up and down your page. Then this piece, I can go ahead. We're almost done. So they come together really quickly, even when you So I do need to make, oh, so I was going to say, even when you do, I have to change this up just a little bit so that I'm not covering up any of the words. I'll put it down a little bit further and over here. Anyhow, um, I don't even know what I was saying. Did anybody else do that? All right, and then I think it's this smaller sticker right here that goes over here. And I think it goes underneath. And I can put it overlapping all of this, I think, just like that. And that one goes there. And then this little small one, I think this one I could pop up. So we'll have a little bit of stuff popped up. Let's do that. Since I've got that popped up, I think because it's sticky, I'm going to do a few more than I normally would just to hold it up off the page, at least down here. And if you have some anti-static pouch powder, then you could tap it on here if you wanted to. And then this one, I need to cover up this area right here. So just put it up high enough so that it's not covering up my verse. So that should work right there. And then we have several of these. I think the big one goes here. The small one's going to go up here somewhere. And then this one can go over here. So we could put, maybe I'll use a little dimensional. I'm going to put that dimensional like right over here, I think. And then sneak it in right in here. Like that. And there is also this one right here that we can tuck in right here. I'll come back and I may put today's date right here because I have just the year from the time we met in 2015 to this year. So we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary of the day we met on farmersonly.com, October 7th. And I'm going to wait on this for just a second so I can decide where I want it because I do want to put this, I think I'll put it like right down in here, maybe a little bit further. And cover it up. Of course, this is going to end up on the outside of the page, so it won't matter eventually. So let's get some of that. I'll look back at everybody's comments as soon as I'm done. We'll visit for a minute if you want to hang around. All right, so I'm going to do it like right. I'm going to tilt it like about like that. And I need to put these down. I have two trees over here actually. One's a sticker. It's the really big sticker tree. It's going to go down first. So I want it far enough over not to cover up the PB&J. Oh well, it's going to have to go there. This one's going to have to come down even further, or I don't know. I think I can cover it up because you can see it over here too. I'm going to pop this one up. Okay. And I think we just about have it. And I just need to add some flowers. Don't think we're going to add the twine. All right. I think I don't want it this low, I don't think. So I'm going to have to cover that up. So I'll just do it like that. And then this one goes right over here. I'll put one little, I think that'll work because it overlaps the tree that I popped up. If you want to add a little bit of adhesive right here, you can do that. I got a little bit there. And this one right here, this one I will pop up. Guess I'll use little one. I'm going to use two. I just don't have some big ones handy, I don't think. And just figure out where you want to turn it. Then this one can go right about here. And then let me see where I want this. So we've got here, here, then we kind of have down here, and then you jump over here. I'm kind of looking at my clusters or embellishment areas. I guess I could just stick it in there. I think I'll just do that. You don't have to have the actual date. Okay, that's what I'm going to do right there. Okay, and then some embellishments. I think I'll go with these Secret C ones right here. And I'm just going to make it fairly quick. So they're called flowers, but they could be, maybe I'll do some cloud cover too. I don't know if I got it off or not. So they could be snowflakes. There, I'll do some over here, I think. There it is. I thought I popped one off earlier. Going to go up here somewhere. Let me see. Yeah, I think it needs to be right up in here somewhere. Maybe I'll do that one there. And then a little one. Okay, and then around here. Another cloud cover one. Oops. And then up in here, I think, because then we'll kind of have it going like up that way. All right, I think that's it. All right, so restoring joy through scrapbooking and Jesus, about talking about God's word, sharing about my faith, Jeff and I's favorite scriptures, created a flip flap, did some of that splattering with the craft ink. I'm gonna love that. I'm gonna have to, you're gonna see me do more of that, I'm sure. So thanks for joining me. I see that Kim says I used my chat GPT so much I have to wait until tomorrow. Uh, yes, I have been paying for it for about a year now because I use it so much. So I think it's well worth it if you are using it and running out of um, time. Hello, Vicky. Thanks for joining me. If you want to see the full video, if you're on Instagram, be sure to hop over to Facebook or YouTube. It'll stay on YouTube. Facebook will be deleted in like uh 30 days. Yes, Kim, we're seeing the senior. We're gonna go to San Marcos to have lunch with Bevan and then head over to Kyle and go see that at around 4 o'clock or something. All right. Mr. Pumpkin's just thinking he wants to come over here, but I really don't want him in the screen. He's got a bad leg right now. Still, he keeps going out and hurting it, and it looks ugly and gross. Yay! Jane says she's getting a photo printer for Christmas. That's awesome. All right. If anybody has any questions, let me know. You can still leave comments after the live, and I'll follow up with you in a bit. Let's see. I can, here he comes. I will, give me 1 second. I'm just going to put him on the floor. Sorry, dude. I guess I could flip my camera back around just to say good night and wish you all well. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed the live, learned a few techniques, and I would love to see what you're creating. So tag me sometime and let me know. And I think that's it. One thing I just thought of, I am trying to come up with a cool idea for scrapbooking using the new Advent calendar that just went live yesterday, or maybe it was Tuesday, on the Stampin' Up website. So I just ordered mine and can't wait for it to get here. So if you want to do scrapbooking with it instead of card making, let me know, and um, I'll be sure, maybe make sure you're signed up for my newsletter, my email list, so that you can hear about what I come up with. But I got to get it in my hands first and see what is all in there so I know what I can do with it. But I'm thinking I could do maybe like a December daily or just 12 days of Christmas, doing a scrapbook layout or different embellishments like tags and journaling things and title ideas. I just don't know yet because I don't know what's in it. So, thank you, Flo. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kim, Debbie, Jane. Appreciate you all. I am going to peak early because I know a lot of other demonstrators are too, because they're going to be creating projects to promote it. So I was like, all right, my idea is to record me opening like day one and then creating something with it and then opening day two and then closer to December I'll share all those, but yeah, I'm gonna have to open it all. Yeah. There's not going to be any surprises except as soon as I get it. So an early Christmas present to me. Let's see. I believe its contents are not Christmas, but like your ideas. True, that may not work either. So, but even if they're not Christmas, we might could make them be something Christmassy. We'll see. All right. Thank you all so much. Oh, Kim said she bought two. Awesome. Maybe I'll buy another one if they're still available, but it's going to have to be another month or so probably. So, because there's lots of other stuff coming. Isn't there always? All right. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all joining me. Y'all have a great evening, and I will see you live next Thursday. I know I'll be live, at least as of now, next Thursday. And the two Thursdays after that, I think I'm going to have to record because Jeff is filling up my calendar with other stuff that I need to be at. It is what it is. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But thanks again. Y'all have a great evening or day wherever you're at. Bye.